Good evening and welcome to the Line of Scrimmage DFS game show, that is. Week 3 of the NFL season with the scholar, John Laub, and myself, Emil Cadlick. How's it going, John?
It's going fantastic. I've enjoyed today's football. It's been a big slate of college. We talked about it last night. I published my sheet of knowledge, which is up on footballdiehards.com. I've been up since 6:30 Eastern time working on lineups, looking at matchups. I feel real good about tomorrow's slate, Emil. I think we have a great day ahead. And you know what I love about it? There are no Chiefs and no Ravens. We don't have to make a decision about Mahomes. We don't have to make a decision about Lamar Jackson. They're on the Monday night slate. So we have to dig deeper and build good lineups despite not having the Ravens and the Chiefs on it.
Oh, that's something else. Didn't even notice that. All right, you ready for the first slide?
Absolutely.
There we are.
All right, to help everyone tonight with some options, if you want some sleepers, if you're looking to save money, maybe build a counterintuitive type of lineup. Where can I save money? The first player that stood out to me all week has been Ryan Tannehill. I have not left this. I looked at other players. I'm looking right now. He is priced below Emil on DraftKings. Matthew Stafford, Tom Brady, and Phillip Rivers. In 2 games, Ryan Tannehill this year has averaged 23.1 DraftKings points. He's only $100 more than Carson Wentz, who has averaged 15.2. This over-under in this game is 49.5 points. Vegas projects there to be plenty of touchdowns scored between the Titans and the Vikings. And we know that is because the Vikings, their defense has literally fallen apart this year. Yeah. They've been bludgeoned in back-to-back games. I think the Titans are going to score plenty of points. I still can't believe the lack of respect that Tannehill is getting in the fantasy football community. Emil, you and I spoke about him in the offseason throughout the summer. I know you were drafting him, and you were right. He was an incredible value. Since he replaced Marcus Mariota, he's been a top 5 fantasy quarterback. I don't get this here. He's only $5,900 in a game in which is 49.5. I love Tannehill. If you want to build a lineup and save at the quarterback position, I thought a lot about Nick Mullins. I thought a lot about Jeff Driscoll. But, Emil, I don't want to take on that much risk. I think you have a much higher floor with Ryan Tannehill, and you have 3 touchdown upside. Also, what do I like about it?
It's incredible. If you want me to, even though it's the cash game, I can throw a little ownership at this just for...
That'd be great.
Yeah, Tannehill right now is 2.53% owned. He's the 10th highest quarterback owned at that low rate.
It's unbelievable. I mean, first of all, you look at the numbers and they're fantastic. Then you watch him play, and he's playing exceptional football. He was a Miami Dolphin, first-round draft pick. Mike Vrabel and the Titans have used his skill set so well. He has so much talent around him. I love him at this price. So he's my
A.J. Brown is out, so he's losing that. But he's compensated with Geno Smith and Corey have played well. Corey Davis, and I love A.J. Brown, but I don't think that's killing his value with A.J. Brown being out.
No, I agree with you, Emil. They get the balls into the hands of their playmakers. I believe Adam Humphries scored a touchdown last week for him. They have Jonnu Smith, and Jonnu Smith is an incredible tight end so far. He's having a phenomenal start to the season, and I'm still waiting for that screen pass to Derrick Henry We know we're going to get a big one for a touchdown somewhere along the way. And Tannehill scores points with his legs. Tannehill has a very nice 2 to 3 points each week with running. So I like Tannehill in this spot a ton. Now, the other player at running back. I've looked a lot over this slate, and I decided it was really between two players at the end, in my opinion. Devin Singletary or Mike Davis. I decided to pivot to Devin Singletary. You save a $200 difference, not a huge difference, but at times it can make a significant difference. The Rams are 31st in DraftKings in surrendering points to running backs.
Ooh.
But then I looked on our snap count, Emil, on footballdiehards.com. What really sold it to me when I was looking here was Zach Moss is out. Zach Moss was getting 46% of the share of backfield snaps. I do not expect Devin Singletary to get all of those snaps, but he should get a vast majority. So right now, Singletary was playing on 56% of the snaps for the Bills. If he moves up to about 65 to 70%, I like him to have a greater opportunity share in the backfield. He's only $4,900. I like this matchup at home against the Rams. And why I like him is Devin Singletary is a good pass catcher. The challenge is, can he get a goal line touchdown? I don't think so, because you have Josh Allen who steals them. And they might put, and they might put someone else in the backfield. But Devin Singletary could score on a 12-yard reception. So I'm taking here as my sleeper Devin Singletary of the Rams at 4,900. I know a lot of people are going to pivot to Mike Davis. I get it. I studied these two a lot. I'm going to go here. I'm going to take Devin Singletary. And then, Emil, we talked about it last week at the end of the show because this player, Drew Sample, had played on Thursday night. And you would ask me, would I pick him up? And I put in some waiver wire bids for him. I got him in one of my regulars in leagues. I saw people pay a lot of money for Drew Sample, more than I was willing to pay for him. But I like this. I like this matchup. I mean, he's only 3,500. He had 9 targets last week for 45 yards. Joe Burrow is throwing the ball like crazy. Let me see what I was looking at this. Here he is. 36 attempts in week 1, 61 attempts against Cleveland. I don't expect him to get 61 attempts here. However, they are an underdog against the Eagles. They should be playing from behind on the road in the fourth quarter. So maybe Burrow throws 40 to 45 times again this week. I like Drew Sample at that price. He's really cost effective, and the Eagles are 30th in the NFL against tight ends. So when you talk game script and potential opportunity and targets here, I like Drew Sample for 3,500. So those are my 3 Scholar DFS sleepers this week: Ryan Tannehill, Devin Singletary, and Drew Sample. What do you think, Emil?
Those are great. And also, by the way, the Eagles have given up. They gave 3 touchdowns up to the Los Angeles Rams, basically Higbee, and then they gave up 1 touchdown to Washington and some decent points. So yeah, they haven't done so well against the. Here, let me flip this down. They haven't done so well against the tight ends, and Drew Sample right now is the 10th. He's 3.36% in GPP ownership. And he's the 10th highest rated ownership, so he's still pretty far down there. Not that it matters for cash, but I just throw that in because we're going to talk GPP a little too.
Yeah,
so,
and
good value.
I mean, you look, the Rams ate him up at tight end with Higbee last week. Now, obviously, the Rams schemed it extremely well. The Eagles have to defend Tyler Boyd, A.J. Green, Joe Mixon. When you're doing the defensive game plan, Drew Sample falls pretty low in the players you've got to stop.
Yeah,
so I like him here. We only
helps.
need 9 10 points.
Pardon?
We don't need a ton to earn 3 times value. We only need like 9 to 11 points. If he ever got in the end zone, we're golden, Aim.
Yeah, that'd be great. All right, off to the next slide.
Oh, the Fantastic Four. This is the meat and the potatoes of your cash game lineup. I don't, in general, like paying up at the quarterback position. You and I talked about this all summer long, Emil, when we did our quarterback preview, and we had discussions. But I'm looking at this slate, and I look long and hard for a high ceiling with a high floor with potential for a large ceiling.
Gotcha.
Right now, that is Russell Wilson. This is going to be – it's not hyperbolic. They're letting Russell go. It's amazing what they are doing in Seattle.
Yeah,
we have waited for years for this Seahawks offense to allow Russell Wilson to throw the ball. 35 and 28 attempts the last 2 games. He had that beautiful pass to Chris Carson, the running back. If you didn't see that late in the game against the Patriots. They are using all of their assets in the passing game. And what did it for me, Emil? The over-under as of this morning was 57 points against the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are hurting on the defensive side of the football. Seattle is home. Their wide receivers, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, might be the best pair in the NFL. And I don't mean that lightly. Watch the film. Look at what Seattle's doing with those 2 wideouts. It is amazing right now. Russell Wilson, I think he has at least a 20-point floor, and his upside, he scored 34.4 and 34.8 points already. So you're looking at a quarterback who is now off to an incredibly historical start. Emil, I was thinking about this. He has 9 touchdowns in 2 games. You're talking about a player who's in the Emil, without Christian McCaffrey, without Saquon Barkley, and then there's some high-priced running backs on the slate. I want to live in the middle class range with high ceilings. And on DraftKings, I'm always thinking about pass-catching running backs. The one that stood out to me, without a question, was Miles Sanders of the Eagles. The Bengals are the 28th ranked defense against opposing running backs. Miles Sanders is just absolutely, he dominated the snaps, the opportunity share, everything you want from a running back in the Philadelphia backfield last week. He had 77% of the snaps, 55% of the time, or 55 plays out of 71 he was on the field. Miles Sanders was tremendous with the ball on the ground. He had 95 yards rushing. He had 7 targets. He only caught 3 for 36 yards. So there's actually upside in the passing game. He is dominating this backfield for the Philadelphia Eagles. He is by far their most electric player, and he's playing the Bengals at home. So I'm going to insert without any reservation. I'm putting in Miles Sanders into my lineups this week. I had him last week. He only went up about $300 in price. I was expecting him to go up a lot more, but he didn't. So I'm still buying him. I love him at this price. I searched for a long time. It took me a while to come to the decision. Who do I want as my second running back? The positive matchup that we've been exploiting is against the Panthers defense. There's no question in my mind that the Panthers are the defense we want to pick on this entire season. 2 reasons. The Panthers aren't very good on defense, and their offense puts points on the board. So you're usually going to have more of a track meet with a lot of plays in these games. So I had to look at the Chargers. We know they're going to Justin Herbert, the rookie quarterback. So what does that tell me? You want to get the ball out of the rookie quarterback's hands quickly. You don't want him to make a lot of mistakes throwing down the field. You want to get the ball into the hands of the running backs and the tight ends. So I said, I have to look a lot at this Joshua Kelly and Austin Ekeler. I know people are tempted with Joshua Kelly. He had 13.3 DraftKings points and 12 points the week before. But Emil, he had 23 attempts last week. He only had 64 yards. That's 2.8 yards a carry. Then he had one big reception. He ended up with 2 catches for 49 yards. I know one of those receptions was over 40 yards. If you take out that big reception, Joshua Kelly was wildly ineffective in this game.
Interesting.
So I asked myself, what do you do if you're the Chargers against one of the worst defenses in the NFL? You get the ball into the hands of Austin Ekeler. Austin Ekeler has been much more efficient. He's averaging over 5 yards a carry. So he's been very productive with the ball in his hands. He has 177 rushing yards. If you ask most fantasy football fans, they would not think that Austin Ekeler has 177 yards rushing, averaging over 5 yards per carry. What I liked last week, he had 4 targets and 4 receptions after only 1 target the first week. And he had 55 yards receiving. He had 18 points last week, and he has not scored a touchdown yet this year. Touchdowns are fickle, and Austin Ekeler can score from a 30, 40 yards out on a screen pass. They have to scheme it a little bit, get him in the open field, and Austin Ekeler can score. The Panthers can't tackle. So I have an elite playmaker who is a great pass catcher against a terrible defense. I'm going Austin Ekeler here because the data tells me that Austin Ekeler's playing better football. And I like Joshua Kelly, and I'm going to play him. And I have some giant leagues where you have 12 starters, and he's a great flex option. But in cash games, I need a high ceiling with a good floor. Austin Ekeler's that guy. And then I've got to get into this Seahawks-Cowboys game more. Everyone, you can make your own choice. Lockett or DK Metcalf. You can go to footballdiehards.com. You can see who I chose. One of them's in my lineup. We need to go to our website to find out who I like. But for our Fantastic Four in the cash game, I'm going to go here to CeeDee Lamb. I've got to get the other side. I've got to invest in the Dallas side of the football. I have Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson is cooking. So I'm going to take him. If the Seahawks are scoring as often as I believe they should, and what Vegas is telling us, that means Dallas is going to be forced to play catch-up like they did last week against the Falcons. Now, I don't expect necessarily the same type of game as they did against the Falcons, but I expect a good outcome here. I'm going to take CeeDee Lamb. 1, he's the cheapest of the 3 receivers. Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb. Also, right now, CeeDee Lamb is playing out of the slot. I think it's 71% of the snaps that he's on the field for. He's out of the slot. Well, guess where in the first 2 weeks, Emil, guess where's the weakest position on Seattle defending?
The slot.
The slot. You know what? I got the player who thrives in the slot against the defense that has trouble defending the slot. I'm going to take CeeDee Lamb here. In the snap counts, CeeDee Lamb has been on the field 83% of the time. This is amazing. 91% of the time for Amari Cooper. 91% of the time Michael Gallup. 83% of the time for CeeDee Lamb. I get it. There's risk. It could be the Michael Gallup week. We know it's going to happen. We don't know when. But right now, the matchup dictates that CeeDee Lamb is in a better opportunity based on the matchup to succeed. So my Fantastic Four: Russell Wilson, Miles Sanders, Austin Ekeler, and CeeDee Lamb. And if you notice at the bottom of the screen, your salary, I've spent $25,900. You have over $4,400 remaining for the other 9 players, and that includes a tight end and a defense. And you can pay down for tight end and defense. So you still have plenty of money to spend on the rest of your lineup here. That's our Fantastic Four cash game this week.
And just a note there on Ekeler for the GPP, he's only owned by 4.18%. It's for what he was drafted at. That's pretty low. He's the 14th owned running back this week, which is pretty damn good.
That's awesome, my friend.
Doesn't
that is.
And you're right, everybody loves, this Kelly guy. Obviously, he's looking good. The coach said he's very raw. He's got a lot of talent. So obviously, he's an intriguing guy. And I love your analysis of tomorrow's game. I think it's a great analysis. All right, next view graph.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to, we've given you the Fantastic Four. We've given you some sleepers, but if you really want to dig into your cash game lineups, GPPs, we've got it all on footballdiehards.com. We have so many good articles by some of the best in the business. We have every week, Bob Harris, the Hall of Famer, puts out his DFS 3 and out. Go get that. I love it. It is one that I've read every week. I think it's the 3rd year that Bob's doing it. Might be the 4th. But I've read every one of his DFS 3 and out. I absolutely love it. Gary Davenport, the shadow knows. If you want to look at some wide receiver matchups against cornerbacks, who's going to shadow? Where are their advantages? Where can you exploit a wide receiver matchup? Gary gives it to you in the shadow knows. My good friend, Justin Lunero, DFS, digging in the crates daily. He gives you more sleepers that you can get for DFS if you need to save some salary cap. If you want to use my Fantastic Four and you need some cheaper options around it, Justin's got them for you. My Scholars DFS sheet of knowledge. I have my top shelf investments, my value plays. I have my fading plays, players that I'm not going to put into any of my lineups. They're there. I have a summa cum laude lineup and a magna cum laude with projected numbers where they are almost always 3 times value. Now, in the first 2 weeks, you can go look back. Everything's on the website. I've cashed in all 4 of my lineups that I have posted. So you can get them there. And then Kyle, another good friend, he has 2 articles every week. DFS cash game and tournament breakdown article. All those are available on footballdiehards.com. We have so much good information. And Emil was just telling you about ownership value. We have ownership value on the site, and we have snap counts. We have everything you need to make cash game and GPP lineups. It's all there for you. Go sign up. Emil, how can they sign up?
I'll just go to the order page, or if you go to a page, it'll point you to the order page, and use the discount code DIEHARDS. You get 15% off. Also, we have the DFS lineup optimizer on there, which is obviously a really good tool also.
You're right. I forgot about that. I use that once in a while. Yes, I forgot.
Yes. Excellent. All right. Off to the final slide.
All right. So this always takes me the longest time to put together my GPP contrarian stack, because you really have to think outside the box. Now, we had a home run opening week. It was great. Last week, it wasn't so good. But, hey, I'm always honest with the viewers. We had the Giants and the Bears. Obviously, once Saquon Barkley got hurt, that entire GPP stack kind of just fell apart. But that's what happens. We're going for low ownership, and we're trying to beat the masses in a GPP. So I said, who am I going to look at? And people, you want to go out and do a stack with the Cowboys and you want to do the Seahawks, I get it. Go do it. but everyone's going to do that. If you want to do the Bears and the Falcons, I get it. Lots of players are going to do that. And if you want to do the Lions and the Cardinals, lots of players are going to do those. So I said to myself, where can I get value that people aren't necessarily thinking of? And then I said, Emil, it's right in front of me. It's my sleeper quarterback. No one is talking about Ryan Tannehill. So I said, wait a second. If I like Ryan Tannehill as a sleeper at quarterback, what about this GPP? So I said, you know what? I need to look into it. And I decided that my GPP contrarian stack is going to be the Titans and the Vikings this week. It's a 49.5 over under. Tennessee is favored by 2.5. I like home underdogs. People are going to be very bitter about the stinker, the clunker, the abysmal effort that Kirk Cousins put into fantasy lineups last week. Why can't I find Cousins now on the list? It was so bad. I'm trying to find his numbers here. Let me see. Here we go. So last week, he scored 1.5 points on DraftKings. People are going to stay away from Kirk Cousins. But that was on the road against the Colts. Since Cousins has been there and the Vikings, since the last 3 years, in general, the Vikings play much better at home, in general. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go with Kirk Cousins, but I do expect Cousins to bounce back, which means that the entire offense will play better. So I'm going to take Ryan Tannehill, and I'm going to take Dalvin Cook, he's in the same position as Miles Sanders. He dominates the snaps. He's a pass-catching back. He's the goal line back. And in the first 2 weeks of the year, he scored 21.8 and 17.1 points. Dalvin Cook has 3 rushing touchdowns already. I like him in this game. I don't think people are going to be on him. Emil, do you have the ownership percentage of Dalvin Cook?
Yeah, Dalvin Cook is at 9%. He's the 9th owned running back.
And he could lead in scoring this week. So I like that. I think
and
that's
as we
pretty
mentioned
good.
Before, Tannehill is a 2.5, and he's the 9th quarterback, which is pretty low for quarterbacks.
Very low. So if you get a shootout here, and then Adam Thielen, what is his ownership? Because I like him in this matchup too. Especially, I think people are going to be frightened from him after what Kirk Cousins did. So what Thielen is this?
13%, and he's the 6th highest owned wide receiver. It's a little higher than you would think.
Wow. So people are thinking that Thielen's going to bounce back this week. So I still like it, but that's interesting. So I'm surprised at that high ownership. And Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith. I'm going to take 2 of the pass catchers who should dominate the targets for the Tennessee Titans. You could switch up and somehow try to get Derrick Henry in there if you want. That is up to you, everyone. But I'm going to go with this as my contrarian stack. Then I could attack possibly Detroit and Arizona, or I could attack players in Seattle and Dallas. So I like this stack, Titans versus Vikings, and then I can put other players around them. Right there, this stack is going to cost you $30,800, and you have $4,800 remaining per player. What do you think about that contrarian stack, Emil?
I like it. And also, let me look up Davis's number. He's a 6% owned, the 17th highest wide receiver owned. And Jonnu Smith is 5.73%, although he's the 10th highest, the 4th highest tight end. So he's a little higher rated, but he's still only at 5.7%. That is.
Yeah, that's not a huge percentage in my opinion.
That's not
especially if he could get, if he gets the targets that we're seeking, that's good. I like that. So that's my contrarian stack this week. Now it's going to depend, obviously, who you put around them. But this game could easily go over 50 points, Emil. Wow. And I don't hear very many people if we could get lucky, Ryan Tannehill runs one in, and then he throws two, that's where we're going. I mean, that's what we need. A running touchdown from Tannehill and 2 touchdowns passing, one to Jonnu, one to Corey Davis, and we're in really good shape because I do think Minnesota's going to put points on the board. So that's why I like this stack.
Well, Cousins does bounce back, and I think that's a good idea to go with the receiver, the number one receiver, as opposed to him. That's a nice way to go at it.
Well, here's an interesting. What is the ownership on Cousins, my friend?
I don't have it up. We had that technical difficulties, and let me see if I can't go in there. Just take me a sec. We'll find out whether it crashes or not. Here, give me a moment, and I will look that up.
No, it's. I just thought off the top of my head because I had an idea if we wanted to do something contrarian. That's all. See if I can here for a second.
Well, let's see if I can't find him. I can't find him because I probably can't.
Ooh, I got it. Amel. Less than 1%.
He's 0.78%.
And what if we did him and Henry? And you could do Henry and Cousins instead of Cook and Tannehill. Let's see what we have for ownership on Henry. 17%. So it kind of depends what you like. I like the Tannehill Cook, but you could go Kirk Cousins and Derrick Henry.
That's interesting.
Henry. Yeah. So there's options here in this game. I like it. Or in this contrarian stack.
Well, that's what you got to look for in GPP is things that you wouldn't really think about that could take advantage of.
Wow, no one would be. Wow, 0.7%, less than 1% for Cousins. I mean, if he could throw 3 touchdowns, which game script says, that's what happened with the Packers. Right, because the game script they got behind, and he had to throw so much that's where the points came. That's interesting. I maybe that's something to think about too. You could do either or, Tannehill and Cook. Tannehill and Cook, but you could go Cousins and Henry if you want to do something really different.
That's great. Those are tough. That's what you need in GPP.
Yes, absolutely, my friend. It is definitely my biggest challenge every week is figuring out that trying to look for something different on the GPP side. It takes a while. It takes a month's research.
Yeah. Well, thanks for doing all that. Well, great show. I'm sorry for the technical difficulty. I'm going to have to tape a few things together. That'll take me a little bit, but excellent show. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I can't believe it's almost Sunday already.
Oh, I know. I can't wait, my friend. And thank you for having me on. And let's go cash out tomorrow, everyone.
Sounds great. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.